So hi folks, I think it's time for me to expose the entire land mafia nexus of Auroville. And the land mafia of Auroville is none other than the Auroville Land Board and the working committee themselves. Now, by given impenetrable impunity by the government of India, that is nobody than the accused officer Srinivas Murthy in the foundation office, the land board members have been threatening Aurovillians for decades. They have been inciting violence amongst the villagers because they are the ones who handle and finance the criminal gundas in and around Auroville. Now, while we were investigating for 5 years, we understood that the Auroville Land Board members have been clandestinely working with the Auroville land encroachers for decades. What they do is, they tell which land is up for sale. They tell the land encroacher to go and sit on that land. And then they themselves finance the lawyers to act as if they are fighting in court, and they delay the cases. And this is how not even one encroachment case of Auroville has been solved properly, because it is the Auroville management which has been keeping the master plan at a moot point. Now, after 1976 and all the atrocities that was done by the old pioneers, we have also seen that in 20 years, the same relative of these pioneers continue to be in land board. Why? Because they have to hide all the misdeeds that they have done in 1976. And this is not just one case. Every case follows the same pattern. Now, Auroville Land Board, as we know, are criminal gundas. But what they do with the Auroville Resident Assembly is even more pathetic. They do not give any proper information to them. They incite violence amongst them. They spread false news through news and notes and Auroville outreach media. Further, they threaten people to take statements from them. They have done such audacious activities that one can never imagine. They think that they are the judge, jury and executioner of Auroville. They are misutilizing public funds. They are misutilizing goodwill donations of people. And what they do is they incite the violence. They are the ones who have been funding criminal gang activities in the area for decades. And this is not just one case or two cases. It has been going on and on for decades. Now, what happens because of this? That even Aurovillians, even good-willed Aurovillians see that this has been happening. And not even one person, but many Aurovillians have been complaining for years. But the foundation office does not take action on these criminal gundas. What kind of faith do these residents have on the government of India? You want foreigners to stand up and fight against criminal gundas where the government itself is supporting them? This is what needs to change. If really the Secretary of Auroville wants the master plan to be confirmed, first she has to uproot the criminal gundas in and around the villages. This is the most dangerous thing that the Auroville Land Board has ever done, and they know it very well. It's willfully committing crimes of grievous nature and completely given protection and impunity by the Auroville Foundation. This is why no resident has come forth so far. Everything that I've said is true. I also have statements of Auroville lawyers, of people who have been harassed by the Auroville management, of other landowners, of other resort owners in the area. Auroville Foundation prides in sending notices to people as to how you're using the name of Auroville. But what do they do with the name of Auroville? They collect donations, they incite violence, they cover up, they instigate villagers, they divide residents. They also provide misinformation to the residents of Auroville. This is how the Auroville Land Mafia has been operating for decades, and now also it is operating, and now also no action has been taken. So what does this mean? Is this integral yoga or spiritual consciousness, or the biggest land mafia nexus, which is supported by every government for decades and has been kept under the shadows, under the garb of spiritual consciousness? That is for the viewer to decide. So stay tuned, folks. A lot of expose and bold statements with facts and plethora of evidences given by everyone is in our possession. I again request the Auroville outreach media to come out in the open. Don't hide behind all this spiritual consciousness for 5 years. Trolling people, abusing people, and making slander reports on them is not going to suffice. I think it is high time that you show some documentary evidence and prove us as to how the Auroville Land Mafia is not operated by Auroville Land Board. That's it, folks. Satyameva Jayate.